Good morning, students. If you're watching this video, if you didn't get a chance to see our Zoom video or you need a little extra help, this is the video for math, Monday, April 27th. So your math this week is pretty much the same as it was last week, except for your ERQs. So you're going to start every day with an ERQ or a warm-up, and they're provided in your packet because these are new ones that you didn't have before, and then you have some work in your textbook. Now, we have two main concepts this week. One is line plots, and they only give one lesson on it, but we're going to extend our learning on line plots and look at kind of more advanced data analysis. And we're going to use this data analysis to do some work with some surveys and some measurement in science. So this is going to be a really important unit. I know we met yesterday on Zoom, but we're going to go through, I'm going to go through the guided notes, and then we're going to practice it a little bit each day so that we are really good at making, analyzing data so we can use this in science and social studies. So our lesson today, our standard is I can display and interpret data by using line plots. So your lesson is to finish your ERQ, and I'm going to go over that, go over line plots, and we're going to mostly do that in guided notes. And then I'm going to post your Khan Academy for line plots so you can do a little bit of practice online as well. Make a note of that so we don't forget. All right, here we go. So have your ERQ ready, and your ERQ question is the second page in your math packet behind your instruction sheet. So if you're looking at your 5th grade overview, and they're labeled by day. So our standard that we are focused on for our ERQs, why they're so important, is I can solve multi-step real-world problems with fractions. And we said last week we focused on computation with multiplying and dividing fractions. But this week through our ERQs and through our Khan Academy and our Edulastic, we're going to focus more on multi-step word problems. So the first thing we always do is dissect our problem. The Delicious Candy Company uses 1/8 of a pound of peanuts. How much do they use? 1 1/8. The Yummy Candy Company, and I'm just going to start calling them Delicious and Yummy, they use 5 times as many nuts in their bundles of candy. Determine, that's our verb, we always firework our verb, how many, I'm missing a word there, pounds of nuts the Yummy Candy Company uses. Determine how many more pounds of nuts they use, and explain. So we have 3 verbs. We're going to go ahead and mark our verbs. Determine. What are we determining? The pounds the Yummy uses, and we need an answer. Determine how many more pounds we need an answer, and we're going to explain our steps. And this one we can do in a very short sentence because we already have quite a bit coming before it, so we're just going to explain our math. All right, now this is a multi-step problem. We did quite a few of these last week with our movie theater, but we're going to look at this one because these are the tough ones. This is kind of the height of all the fractions we've done. All right, so first off, how many does Delicious use? And I'm going to do my math over here. If you need extra paper to do your math on, that would be fine as well. So we have 1 1/8. And the Yummy Candy Company uses how much more? 5 times more. And they give you that word in there. They won't always tell you the operation, but they do there. All right, so first thing we need to do is what? How am I going to use this where I can multiply? All right, so we're going to turn it into a whole and add it to our fraction. 8/8 plus 1/8 equals what? 9/8. Now I need to turn my whole number into a unit fraction. So what's our saying? We throw it over 1. What's our step for multiplying fractions? Multiply numerators and we multiply denominators. All right, but now I have what type of a fraction? What do we call these things? We call that a mixed number. What do we call this one? Yep, and a fraction is really just what type of a problem? Division. 45 divided by 8. 8 goes into 45 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Now, how do I write my fraction? What over what? Remember, when I ask a question, you need to be saying it out loud. All right, 5 over 8, remainder over divisor. So they use a total of 5 5/8 pounds. But now we need to know how much more this company used. So this company used this amount and this company used this amount. How do I determine how much more? Subtract. 5 5/8 minus 1 1/8. Now we have two mixed numbers. Luckily, they already have the same divisor, so we're good there. 5 minus 1 is 5/8 minus 1/8 is. And how would I reduce 4/8? Alright, so now we know they use 4 1/2 pounds more. And what were my two main math operations? What did we do our first step? And then what did we do our second step? So we multiplied and then subtracted. And we'll need to give a little more information than that for sure. All right, so remember we need one sentence for every verb, and at the end we're going to count. And we said the bare minimum is 15, but we're not shooting for 15, we're shooting for 20 words. So remember how we assess our ERQs, and all these completed ERQs are worth 100 points. So you're going to count your words and make sure you have at least 20. And then you're going to underline your vocabulary. All right, so our standard for today is our line plots. And I want to remind you where you're coming from on this. So I asked you guys to get a bunch of objects that are all the same. In this case, they're all writing implements. And when you were first learning how to graph, probably in kindergarten, they would have you get something you all had, or they would have you make a choice, and then you lined them all up, usually on the floor, or maybe you use silly putty or whatever, sticky putty to put them on the wall, and actually make a graph. So that's kindergarten, and line plots are really the same thing. So if I was to graph these, I have 4 highlighters, and I have 4 pencils, 1 pen, and 1 marker. And they would have you line these up vertically so that you could count them. Another one a lot of times teachers will do is socks or shoes. So they'll have everyone come look at what socks they're wearing, and you'd get a little picture and then say, oh, 2 people are wearing white socks. 2 people are wearing black socks, 1 person is wearing brown, and 1 person is wearing gray. And they would, again, you would mark these up on the board or on the floor, and then they move to an image. So usually in first grade, they start giving you a picture of maybe a green apple and a red apple, and everyone puts their picture up on the board. Well, your line plot is the exact same thing, except for line plots, this is kind of the adult representation of it. I can recognize and analyze data and organize it on a graph, you're going to use X's. So we're going to stop now, and you need to get out your paper for your guided notes. And I'm going to show you, so if this learning that you're doing is going to be used in science and social studies, to any time you collect data and need to organize it. It's also going to be used when you guys get to college. You're going to be taking, I know you're all going to college. You're going to take a class called statistics, and the things I'm going to teach you today are the same things you use in statistics. Now remember, I'm going to go pretty quickly, but if you need to pause the video at any point, you're going to pause it. And it's really important that you write these notes, because you're going to use these notes in your lessons the next 2 weeks when you're analyzing your data. One of the things we're going to do is I'm going to give you plants and seeds, and you guys are going to actually grow some plants and collect some data each day. So our first step that you do, so I'm going to give us some data. Our data is going to be shoes, number of shoes. So here's all of our data. All right. Let's do one more. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of data. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do, and I'm going to teach you the full steps of everything you do, but of course, sometimes you're going to jump through some of these steps faster than on other times. It really depends on how much data you have. The first thing you're going to do is order your data. And all it means is put it in numerical order. So we have 2, 2, I'm just putting little checks by them. And it always goes from least to greatest. And you're going to use this to find your mean, median, and mode, which I'm going to teach you in just a minute. So that's why this step is really useful. All right, so the first thing is we ordered our data. Now the second step is a lot of times you're going to be asked to make what's called a frequency chart. This step is not always asked of you, but sometimes it is. And I'm going to highlight our words. These are all of our vocabulary words. And a frequency chart uses tallies. All right, so we have number of shoes. And we're going to write down each of our numbers. So we have people that said they had 2 shoes. We have people that said they had 5 shoes, 7 shoes, 18 shoes, and 20 shoes. And then you're going to count the number of times you see that answer. So how many 2s do you see? 3. And we're going to use tallies. So remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll practice using tallies when we do our division. We have 1, 5, 1 tally. 1, 7, 1, 9, oh, I forgot 9, 1, 18, and 1, 20. All right, so the second thing or third thing you're going to do is make a line plot. And you don't actually use these just out in the world. You're more going to use this for data. So this is science and social studies. Now, averaging things and finding the mean, median, and mode, use that in real life all the time, and I'll give you some examples when we get there. So a line plot is just a graph. So first thing we're going to do is make our horizontal, number line. And I'm going to pause our video here because we're at the end of our 15 minutes, and I'm going to start it right back again right where we are.